The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, let's talk about that fight that took place last night between Masayoshi Nakatani and Felix Verdejo. It's a lot to process, but when I was making my video in the lead up to this fight, I said that this fight was a sink or swim fight for Verdejo. You know, Verdejo was 4 fights removed from that loss, that devastating loss to Antonio Lozada. Had built himself up very well. Was coming off of a first-round knockout over Will Madeira. It looked like he was back. And in this fight, he had such a positive start. He set such a very fast pace. Showed that he showed in the first 6 rounds that he has one of the best jabs in the sport. He showed that, speed-wise, he's as dangerous as anybody. He dropped Nakatani. He literally hit him with a 1-2 and literally turned him around. And it looked like Felix Verdejo, for the majority of that fight, was on his way to a masterclass performance. At least for those first 6 rounds. For those first 6 rounds, Verdejo looked like he was on his way to a masterclass performance. But as I was saying on the live, and if you weren't on the live, I feel bad for you because we had a great time. As I was saying on the live with Verdejo, you know, I wanted to see if he was a front runner or not, because it's very easy in professional boxing, if you're a very talented fighter, to look good in those 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds. But can you look good in those later rounds, 7th round, 8th round, 9th round, 10th round, those championship rounds? Can you still fight at that same pace, at that same intensity for the whole fight? And we got our answer, and we got it in an emphatic fashion. The answer for Verdejo was no, he couldn't maintain that pace, because it was around the latter part of the 6th, early part of the 7th, where Nakatani began to really start to find Verdejo. He was hitting him with some power jabs, snapping his head back, buzzed him a couple times, and by the 9th round, it was all she wrote. Nakatani had flipped the script. He had timed him. He had taken advantage of a Verdejo who was beginning to fade as the fight progressed, and Nakatani scores a massive win in his career as he beats Verdejo, puts a big fork in him for the time being, and announces himself to the world as more than just a guy who had a good fight against Teofimo Lopez. I think in this fight, this was Nakatani's night. It was a signature fight. He had proven himself as a guy that as a fighter that is much more than just some good opponent. He looks like a guy that could go on to really be a threat at 135. I mean, a lot of people last year didn't want to give Teofimo Lopez his just due. When he beat Nakatani, they said he was a bum. They said he was a nobody. They said he was this. They said he was that. But Nakatani in this fight showed that he's tough as nails. I mean, Verdejo didn't just drop him once. He dropped him twice. And Verdejo was hitting him with all kinds of sharp jabs and right hands and touching him to the stomach, touching him up to the head. A lesser fighter with lesser character would have folded last night against Verdejo. Let's make that very clear. A fighter with lesser character and lesser toughness, mentally and physically, would have folded last night against Verdejo, but Nakatani didn't, and I think that showed a lot about his character. And I don't know what his training situation is like, but I'd like to see Nakatani come to the States and get with a trainer and bring his trainer out here and get some better world-class sparring out here, because I think this guy has the goods to be something in the 135-pound division. Again, when he fought Lopez, he was relatively unknown. Nobody knew who he was, and in my opinion, there's an argument to be made, and you can disagree with me if you want, but there's an argument to be made that Nakatani won as many rounds against Lopez as Lomachenko did. There is, because I thought he won 4 rounds against Teofimo Lopez, and I thought Lomachenko won about 4 rounds against Lopez. So, Nakatani's gonna be around. Hey, Verdejo had to see Lopez had to see Nakatani, he beat him. Verdejo had to see Nakatani, he lost to him. So as far as I'm concerned, he has formally announced himself as a player in the lightweight division. And like Devin Haney, gotta come see Nakatani. George Kambosos Jr. gotta come see Nakatani. Ryan Garcia, he's gotta come see Nakatani. all these guys that come to Nakatani because he's here. He's here, and he's here to make some waves in the division. And as for Felix Verdejo, I have no clue where he goes from here because he's lost to two of the same type of fighter. You know, he lost those taller, rangier guys first in Lozada, now in Nakatani. I'm not so sure where he goes from here because, I mean, he's looked as good as he'll ever look. He looked as good as he'll ever look in his boxing career those first 6 rounds against Nakatani. And he spent so much time building himself up back to this point. And like I said, it was a sink or swim fight, and he sank all the way to the damn floor when it mattered most. He didn't have it within him to continue pressing forward. So I don't want to say he should retire because, I mean, who am I to say that a guy should retire? But, you know, there is reason to be concerned for where he's gonna end up in his career because he has no punch resistance. He fought Lozada, who's not a big puncher, and he fought Nakatani. And the first time Nakatani punched Verdejo, he was, you know, even before the knockout, he was buzzed. He was in trouble. So, you know, his punch resistance is definitely questionable. His chin is definitely shaky, and it's probably gonna be the one thing that holds him back from being a top level fighter. He can still be a top 10 guy. I think there's still some good fights out there for Verdejo, and we'll see how he responds. We're gonna continuously find out. We're gonna continue to find out how badly Felix Verdejo wants to be great in this sport because he's taken not one but two devastating losses in fights where he was the clear-cut favorite. So, you know, I personally, I'll be honest with you, I'm just gonna keep it a buck with you guys, and I hate to say this and it pains me. But like I think at this point we gotta say that Felix Verdejo, while he is talented, while we recognize his skills, he's overrated. He is overrated. Because in boxing you need to have more than just skills and talent to be a great fighter. You need to have durability. You gotta have toughness. You gotta have a chin. And Verdejo just don't have that durability. I think at that world class level. So we'll see how he develops. I'll stay continuing to follow his career, to cover his career. But at this point, he's overrated, and I don't think he's ever going to win a world title. I'm gonna leave it at that. He's overrated, and I don't think he's ever going to win a world title. So hopefully I'm proven wrong. But I have to call a spade a spade. Whether I like a guy or don't like a guy, I have to call a spade a spade. He's had 2 fights against 2 fighters he was supposed to beat, and he lost both of them getting stopped. Okay, so Verdejo is overrated at this point. But this is I don't want to take away from what Nakatani did. Nakatani is here. Nakatani has announced himself formally as a major player in the lightweight division, and I think it's time for Top Rank and all parties involved to start matching this guy up with even more big fights. And if not right away, then just build him up, give him some cans, let him get a couple fights on ESPN because I think he's earned it. He's fought 2 of the most talented lightweights in the world back to back in a you know, he fights one guy in the summer of 2019, and he fights the next guy in the winter of 2020. So a 500-day span between the Verdejo and the Lopez fights, and he performs either way. Either way you cut it, he performs at a high level. Whether it's Lopez, he performed at a high level against Lopez, and he performed at an even higher level against Verdejo. So I think Top Rank should really focus their efforts and their energy into Nakatani because he can fight. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What did you make of Verdejo versus Nakatani? I'd like to hear what you guys got to say down below. So leave your comments down below. Make sure you drop a like because that helps the channel. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys.